We have now joining us today Attorney Rodel Taton, one of the complainants who filed cases against Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. Good morning, Attorney.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning,
thanks for joining us.
Every Filipino. Magandang umaga po.
Okay, perhaps can you tell us po kung ano po ba yung kaso na sinampa natin laban kay Sec Recto?
We are actually a group of health advocates.
Yes.
Most of the complainants are Ilonggo medical doctors and three of us lawyers in this complaint against Executive Secretary Recto and also former CEO and President of the PhilHealth Ledesma. We filed a case for technical malversation, also for graft and corruption, and also plunder, as well as grave misconduct for public officials like them.
Okay, so how confident are you and of course the other members of the group that filed this case na the decision will be favorable to you? Kasi of course, no, yung SC, no, the Supreme Court has already said there's no criminal liability on the part of Senator or Secretary Recto because he is presumed acted in good faith.
I think we have to be clear with that decision of the Supreme Court, because the issue in that decision of the Supreme Court is on the constitutionality of the provision of the General Appropriations Act and also the circular of the Department of Finance. And if it was an obiter dictum that, or an opinion simply, that there is no criminal liability, but take note that this is not a criminal case, no, that was filed before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is not a trier of facts, no, and we have to remember that certiorari and other questions there, but it was not a criminal case. This one that we filed is a criminal case against now Executive Secretary Recto, and the allegations here are clearly criminal in nature. That's why we filed it before the ombudsman which has jurisdiction over the matter for a public official like them.
Okay. And of course, ano po ba yung nakikita natin dito na, of course, you believe na itong 60 billion peso fund transfer na to, pwede to sa, yun nga po, sa plunder and malversation? Because some would say, yung mga legal luminaries are saying na, ako, ang hirap kapag plunder ang isinasampa, ang hirap patunayan.
Ang pinaka main filing namin dito, number one, well, let's start maybe on the technical malversation. The technical malversation, the basic elements of which would simply be that there is public officer like them, and there is accountability on the public funds, on the use of public funds, and there is use of these funds, no, for appropriations, not its exact appropriation, such that in this case the use of PhilHealth funds, or the excess funds, or the reserve funds of PhilHealth are supposed to be used for investment or high interest investments, or maximization of the benefits of the members of PhilHealth, or the reduction of the contribution of the PhilHealth members. Pero what happened was it was returned to the National Treasury for the use of unprogrammed appropriations, which we do not know. It would be for flood control or others. No? But what we are trying to say here is the issue is greatly for the PhilHealth and the universal health care. One of the provisions that we are asking is in relation to the use of the excess funds of the under the Universal Health Care Act, which says that it should not be returned to the National Treasury. And even the Supreme Court said that there was this voiding, no? They mentioned that the issuance or the circular was void because the circular cannot amend a law.
How about, attorney, yung issue ng pagbabalik ng pera, no? Kasi it's been talked about na supposedly yung 60 billion na yan, nung binalik daw sa PhilHealth, it was done through budgeting. So it's presumed na galing sa bagong collections ng government yan, and hindi naman directly actually yung 60 billion mismo na nakuha ang binalik. So a lot of people are questioning that. Ano ang tugon nyo dito, attorney?
Exactly, kasi ang mga mamayang Pilipino na naman, no, ang gagastos para dito. Kasi kung magagaling ito sa National Treasury, which is appropriate naman na dapat ibalik kasi ginastos naman talaga ng National Treasury to the prejudice of the PhilHealth members. And at the same time, that's why we are also including graft and corruption here, because the prejudice here is also not only on the Filipino people, but the government of the Republic of the Philippines, as well as the ordinary Filipino taxpayers like us and those who are even in the far-flung areas of the country.
Attorney, para maintindihan rin ng viewers natin, so dapat ba ang ginawa dito, ang pagbabalik is regardless sa budget, no? Ibabalik siya kahit wala pang pinasa na budget because merely returned funds lang dapat ito.
Oh, kasi ang kinuhang reserved funds ng PhilHealth ay dapat para sa PhilHealth po yun at sa mga miyembro niya na dapat gamitin sa tatlong pamamaraan na sinabi ko kanina, no? Sa investment, maximization or reduction, no, ng mga contributions. Kasi binalik ito sa National Treasury. So dapat naman ibalik ito sa miyembro kasi ang mga miyembro buwan-buwan ay nagde-deposit or nagbabayad ng contribution, and marami sa ating mga kababayan ang nagkakasakit, and kanina lang may nag-message sa akin na out of 400,000 na bill, ang na-shoulder lang ng PhilHealth is 69,000, which could have been used to maximize the benefits of PhilHealth if it was properly used for the PhilHealth members themselves.
Yeah. Attorney, regarding sa case naman kay Secretary Recto, I'd like to understand it a little bit more, and so siguro our viewers, are you saying regardless of good faith or bad faith, may mali siyang ginawa technically? So is that the premise of the case? Or are you assuming na everything that he did was in bad faith?
There is, what I should say is, there is gross inexcusable negligence.
Okay.
No, so hindi sapat ang sabihin natin na bad faith or good faith, kasi dito is the fact that dinisregard niya ang law itself, no, the PhilHealth law, the Universal Healthcare law, or even the syntax law. These are clearly violations or gross inexcusable negligence, kasi ang sinasabi nga natin lagi, ang ordinaryong Pilipino, sinasabi natin na the law is harsh, but it is the law,
It is
di ba?
That's right.
And dapat bilang nasa pwesto ka, dapat ikaw mismo ang nakakaalam na bawal 'yon sa batas natin, no? And we are saying here, halimbawa, kasi ang damage done is also against the government, and also ang sinasabi natin dito ay halimbawa sa plunder. Kasi ang 60 billion pesos na ito na ibinalik sa Treasury, kung ininvest ito, no, in an ordinary investment, no, ng PhilHealth, it could have gained, sabi natin, 1% every year. So it is supposed to be 600 million pesos para sa miyembro ng PhilHealth. And sa ating batas, ang threshold is 50 million to qualify for plunder. And I think here, makikita natin na kung in-invest itong 60 billion pesos properly, it should be gaining 600 million pesos for the benefits of its members. And I think simple lang naman yan. Ang kawawa at ang natapakan dito ay ang mga miyembro ng PhilHealth at ang mga miyembro ng sambayanang Pilipino na recipient ng Universal Healthcare.
Okay, so this is not the first time na nagkaroon po ng kaso final with this kind of case po kila Secretary Recto. I believe it's the Save the Philippines Coalition who first filed the case last December. Hindi niyo po ba naisip na kumbaga parang mag-merge na lang kayong dalawa o consolidate instead of filing new cases, a separate case?
We are not in any relationship. We don't know them, and at the same time, we have read somewhere in social media also some portions of the complaint, and we believe that this one is has been properly done, I think, and the elements are very clear. No, I cannot judge on their complaint. At the same time, yung sa amin, I think we can only speak for this. And ang sinasabi ko nga dito, the complainants here are doctors, medical doctors. Actually, mga matatanda na ang kasama ko dito na mga medical doctors and na mga Ilonggo doctors actually, na araw-araw nakikita nila ang mga pasyente. Araw-araw silang hinihinga ng tulong or reduction ng mga payments para sa kanilang professional fees. And araw-araw natin nakikita ang mga hospital, ang mga pila, no, every day that many Filipinos deserve a better healthcare system, a better hospital system, a better management of the funds of the public directed for public health. And I think kasama naman namin sila, kasama naman natin dito ang sambayan ng Pilipino para sa laban na ito. And I think if there was a plunder complaint before and this one now, and it should not deter any others to file this, because we know that public funds are involved and public interest is highly involved in this case.
All right, we will continue to get in touch with you regarding the development of this case. For the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, Attorney Rodel Taton. Good morning.